guys, Rose here. So welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today I am working on a little project that I had the idea a few times over the last couple of years, I guess, and I just watched a video recently that reminded me of it. I will link that video below. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it right now, but I will link it below. So what we are doing double textured tags, and I have a couple of examples ready to go, but this is one that I have finished to my satisfaction. And what we are doing is we're taking a tag, covering it with fabric, and then embossing it in an embossing folder. Okay, so can you see all the fabulous texture coming through there? Now this was a textured fabric in itself anyway. It had different kind of weavings going through it, I guess. I don't know, it had a pattern on it anyway. And so that, along with the embossing that I did on it, it's uber textured. Now I left it fairly simple. I didn't want to do too much to it, and I think a lot of these tags, because there is a lot going on with the textures and things, they won't need a whole lot of embellishing, which is great if you're looking for a quick tag to do. You could just get the bases ready and then pop them into your journals as you go. And I've just backed this one with some craft paper. I do think that possibly some card might be better if if the embossing coming through bothers you. If you want it to be really smooth, use a light card instead. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be making. I am going to demonstrate one full one for you, and I will show you a few different things at the end. Okay, so what I'm using, and you've seen me use this before, I'm using Heat and Bond, just a regular tag. You can cut your tag out of a card if you wish. These are just ones that I had pre-cut. So we have our Heat and Bond, our tag, and our fabric. And the lady who did this on the video that I watched recently, she used double-sided adhesive to do hers. Now, she was actually making cards. She wasn't making tags. She wasn't doing junk journals. But I don't have any double-sided adhesive. I actually went looking for my wide roll of double-sided tape, and it turns out that I am all out. So that was very sad. I had the very skinny stuff, but unfortunately you'd be there for days trying to kind of cover a whole tag, and I think all the lines would show through. So I have here my trusty flat iron. Haven't had heated it up because, you know, I'd be silly like that. But it's just heating up there, and I'm going to just get our Heat and Bond onto our card. Now, it's not quite hot enough to get all the way through, but I just wanted to get it stuck to the point where I can just trim around the edges, just to avoid getting the glue on my flat iron. I do like to cut them as close as possible to the tag and then trim afterwards. But I cut as close as possible so there isn't that much waste. I don't like waste. And there we go. Now, that flat iron should be hot enough by now. So I am simply just heating the Heat and Bond to get it to melt onto the tag. I do love this stuff. It is so simple to use. Now again, the one that I'm using, I have done this process actually in another video. If you watch my 3 ways videos, you'll see 3 ways with fabric. I did this on an envelope, so I'll link that below as well if you haven't seen it. But I am using the Heat Bond Ultra Hold. Now, I don't think it's necessary. I haven't tried the other ones. That was simply the first one that I ever bought, and I still have it. But I do think the lighter ones might work possibly better than the Ultra Hold in the sense that they're thinner. And you'll see why there in a while. Okay, so that's that on. Just going to peel off the backing. Oh, there's a little bit of extra glue there that I'm just going to take off. There we go. Lay our fabric right side up. Make sure you have it right side up. Now, because this fabric is quite thin and it seems pretty delicate, I am going to wrap it in like a non-stick sheet. This is just the back off of some sort of sticky roll of fabric or paper or, you know, contact, that kind of stuff. I just keep all those sheets. And they come in handy for things like this. I also keep all the backing off of my Heat and Bond, the bigger pieces at least. The ones for these tags, maybe not so much. But I do use it to cover journals in fabric, so I keep all those pieces. Okay, I think that should be good. Check. Yeah, just one or two little corners there. Ooh. And I'll say it again, I said this in the video where I did the fabric covered envelope. If you don't have a flat iron in your craft room, are you even a crafter? It is the handiest tool that is not a craft tool that I have in my craft room. I love having it in here. So I'm going to leave it hang down freely here just to cool down so that it's not getting anything hot and melty up there. There. Then we have our fabric covered tag. I'm just going to trim around the edges. Now you could actually leave a border around it and fray it. That would look awesome as well, but I'm after creasing that in. Actually, just go back here and iron this out. Even though my flat iron is actually turned off, it's still warm enough to iron that out there. Do I want to leave, see, the way I have this cut, I can't actually leave an edge on this. But you could leave an edge on it and fray it and it would look awesome, because it will only fray up to the point where it is glued onto the card tag. Okay. Ooh. These scissors are not fantastic for fabric because they get so abused and never cleaned. Okay. Oh, there we go again. So that was that one little piece. Now, another thing to be cognizant of when you are doing this, or to be aware of when you're doing this, is if your fabric is very light, or light in colour, light as in, you know, physically light, or light in colour, keep an eye on the colour of your tag, or if there's any kind of images or anything, lines and things like that on your tag that may be seen through the fabric. I have made that mistake already today, and I will show you that shortly. It wasn't too bad, but yeah, just something to be aware of. Sorry now, get that. There we go. So that's all trimmed out nicely. And I'm going to bring in my Crop-A-Dile and just punch the hole in that. You can do this with a regular hole punch. You may have to trim the actual fabric out, which I will have to do here as well. But it's already kind of punched to the point where it's very easy to trim it. And we have our little hangy hole piece. So just in and of itself with the fabric on it, they're pretty cool. They're already textured and they're already really cool. But we take it a step further And I'm bringing out my Cuttlebug. I know it's going to be a little in your face, but it won't take very long, okay, I promise. So I have several, what do they call it, embossing folders out ready to go. There are 3D ones and there are regular ones, and I'm going to use a regular one. I've already used a 3D one on another one, which I'll show you in a while. So I'm going to use a regular one. Now I want this pattern to be raised on the front, so I'm making sure that I have it in the correct way for that. Make sure it's straight. With some embossing folders, it doesn't really matter whether the tag is straight or not, and in some it does. I think this would look pretty okay if it wasn't straight in there, but I made the attempt to get it straight anyway. So, putting down my plates, my sandwich going here, and it's whatever sandwich you would normally use for any kind of embossing folder. Run it through. Get this out of the way. And let's see what we got. Okay, so that came out pretty awesome. That is lovely. Okay, so just leaving that as is on its own is beautiful. But what I have done in the others, and what I'm going to do here as well, I have taken my distress inks and my little dauber. Now, the dauber in this instance, I think, works better than brushes because of the flat-ish surface, because all you're going to do is run it very, very, very lightly over your pattern. It does get down into the valleys between the pattern, but the pattern definitely picks it up more because you're not putting pressure on it, but you're running over and back on those edges of that pattern. And what that does, it helps the pattern to stand out a little bit more. You could leave it subtle in the background the way it was, and it's beautiful anyway. But I just wanted to show you guys this as well. And of course, the more you do it, and try and do it in circles actually, because that way you're getting all the edges of the upraised part of the pattern, you know. And I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm keeping it as light as I possibly can. Okay. Now I am also going to take a darker ink. I'm actually using Walnut Stain here, which is one that I rarely use. The first one was Brushed Corduroy. This is Walnut Stain, and I'm just going to kind of delineate the edges here as well. Just, I think it looks a little bit better with some definition. Beautiful. Okay, so that is the basic technique, and I think that is fantastic. It just adds so much more. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Now, I'm sure there are other techniques that you could combine with this as well, maybe gilding and things like that. I haven't actually had time to explore it. This is my first time today doing this. And I just really wanted to hop on and show you guys because it looks awesome. Okay, so after this, you can kind of go to town decorating if you want. It's entirely up to yourself what you do from this point on. I kind of, to my eye, I would prefer to keep it simple. But the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else, I'm going to back it with some card, and I actually have some here. That will do perfectly. So I'm going to glue it down. This actually just came from an Amazon package. Just going to glue it straight on to here, and I'll trim it out afterwards. see, do I have enough glue? Okay, I'm gonna just spread out that glue. Now, because of the way this is debossed, I would suggest using a stronger glue rather than a regular kind of PVA. A PVA would work, but just to give yourself that little extra assurance that it's going to stay down, because like I said, the full surface is not touching the card. There we go. Now I am just going to turn this upside down, and I'm going to put my Cuttlebug on it just for a minute while I clean up this mess. And while that's drying, I am going to show you guys a few other pieces that I did earlier today, and I will emboss some more as well. So that's the one we've already seen. That I consider this finished. I may put just an eyelet down here, nothing hanging off, but I may just put an eyelet on it. These two, this is kind of a chenille fabric. Now, I don't know if you can see properly. On the backs of them you can see the patterns. They have both been embossed. But on the front, not so much. This one has very, very little pattern on it at all. It's barely there. It is there, but it's barely. And this one has a little bit more of the pattern. This was with its 3D embossing folder. And it has a little bit more of the pattern, but it is still very subtle. And then I did this one, it's just a plain cotton, and the pattern came out amazing on that one. So the lesson from that obviously is thinner fabrics work better. I am still trying out different fabrics on it, but the thinner fabrics do seem to work better. And obviously if you use a patterned fabric, it's going to be different than using a plain fabric. Obviously on the plainer fabrics, the pattern from your embossing folder is going to be much more noticeable, less subtle than this. Okay, so that's the 3 that I did earlier that I wanted to show you guys. I have 2 more here covered and ready to be embossed, and I just want to see the magic of those. So, and this one is a beautiful, beautiful fabric that I got a couple of weeks ago. Now you can't really see it here, but the little leaves are actually done in a metallic print, and they do shimmer ever so slightly. It's lovely. Now you can also see in the camera, this is the one that I put it on a tag that had a pattern on it, that had an image on it, and the image is showing through. But I'm hoping to be able to get around that by backing it. First of all, the light won't be coming through, and then I will decorate down here or something. So that's those. Now let's see how we're getting on here. Yeah, we're getting there. Let's get this trimmed out. This is a tough cardboard. I tried the other one with paper because I personally don't like them to be too thick and too stiff. And I think this one is going to be a little bit too stiff for my liking, but I shall just deal with it. Constantly trying to figure out the best way to do these, because I use different bases for my tags as well. It's not always going to turn out the same if I use the same backing. So yeah, it can be a little bit frustrating to figure out what I want to use to back them, if I back them. Okay, I'm going to bring in my chomper here and get this hole taken out as well. Oops, that didn't come all the way through, that's funny. There we go. Beautiful. So we have our tag, and it's backed. It is quite stiff, it's quite thick, but it's actually okay. It's not, I've had worse ones that didn't even want to bend like that. So, you know, I love this on the plain fabric, and run over it with the ink pad. Absolutely stunning. So let's get these two done, and we'll see how they come out. Now, okay, I'm going to use the 3D folder on that one, and I'm actually going to keep it very subtle with this. And maybe just do a partial emboss. Yeah, okay. So we'll do a full-on 3D embossing folder with this one. This is the Tim Holtz embossing folder. I just want to make sure I have it the right way around and relatively straight. There we go. Get our Cuttlebug. Now with these Tim Holtz 3D folders, I only actually have Tim Holtz 3D folders. I don't have 3D folders from anybody else. But I know with the Tim Holtz ones, you only use one plate in your machine. So let's get that through. And we'll bring it back again as well, just to be doubly sure. And we'll get the other one. We're going to need the two plates for this one. So we'll get that in there, get our plate on, and get it through. Now remember, this is the regular folder, the other one was a 3D folder. And this is a Sizzix folder as well. Now, let's see how we did with those ones. Wow. So that's the one out of the 3D folder. Doesn't that look just amazing? I mean, you really don't need to do much else to these. Maybe put a tab top on. Maybe a little ribbon across here if you had a nice wide ribbon or something. But that is just beautiful. And the other one. Now I'm slightly disappointed with this, only because I can actually see the pattern coming through, and the pattern of the butterflies is getting lost against that background. So I'm going to take my ink and I'm going to just very, very lightly where the butterflies are, run my ink along it in circles. And of course I had the walnut stain on this, so it's darker than the other one, but that's okay. And you can see it a little bit better now. Don't know if you can see it on the camera so much, but it actually looks really pretty in real life. I'm going to continue colouring the rest of the fabric on here as well, just very lightly. And it is quite subtle but quite lovely. Again, not sure that I would do much to that. Not sure I'll actually use it because I can see the image through it, and it is catching my eye and quite annoying me. So we'll see about that one. But that one, love it. Now, as I said, the girl in the video that I watched earlier, excuse me, she used double-sided adhesive on hers, okay? And I do think that double-sided adhesive might work even better than the Heat and Bond, simply because of the mechanics of how the two different glues work. But I'm not going to go into that, but just it might be worth giving a try with double-sided adhesive rather than Heat and Bond if you have the option. But even with the Heat and Bond, that came out amazing. I love it. I do recommend using 3D folders if you have them, because the depth you get in them and the way it comes up on the fabric is just beautiful. Okay guys, so I'm not going to go and do any more decorating, simply because when it comes to decorating things like this, first of all, we're not going to be doing very much of these anyway, or at least I won't, because they are beautiful just in and of themselves. And second of all, I dilly-dally when I decorate the things, all the things. So my video would be hours long trying to decorate one tag. So anyway, this is the basic idea. I hope it's inspired you to go and try this. And it's another way to use your embossing folders as well. It looks absolutely stunning and adds a little something special to a tag for a journal. Okay guys, that is it from me. If you did like this video or any of my other videos, please do like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers at the moment, and I will be doing a little giveaway for that. Yeah, so, and all of the products that I have used in the video today, I will link them below as far as possible. Obviously I can't link the fabrics and things, but I will link tags and glues and heat and bond and double-sided adhesives and things like that below in the links below for you. They are affiliate links. It doesn't cost you anything to buy through my links, but I do get a teeny tiny commission if you do use my links. Again, very helpful to me. Okay guys, that's it. Have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.